Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee, and welcome to this card making tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at this new Stampin' Die set. It's called Opulent Oasis, and you've got these florals and then you've got these dies. Now, the reason I wanted to focus in on this set is that this set features our new impressions mats. So the impressions mat you get separately, but the big die here in this set that should be here will not only cut out your image, but it will also emboss your image for you. So let me show you. Here you can see on my original. This is Hydrangea U, and this is the Blossom Boutique Designer Series paper. And you can see here how the cardstock is not only cut out, but it's also been embossed. So you have both there, and it just looks so pretty. So firstly, what I've done is I've die cut the image here from some Golden Glow Designer Series paper, and I've just put it through the die cutting machine the way you would any normal die. But now we're going to use it to do some embossing. So for embossing here, we're going to be using some different mats to what we normally use. We're going to have our base plate, which is our number 1. Then we're going to have number 2, which is our cutting plate. Then we are going to put our die. And the important bit here is you need to put your die the opposite way to when I die cut. I always die cut into my plate below. Here you're going to be die cutting or embossing into the plate above. And you really need to do it this way, otherwise you won't get a good emboss. So I'm just fitting this back into the die. I'm just going to hold this in place with some post-it note tape. So I'm just going to get that. Look for another piece. There we go. And then I'm going to put my impressions mat. So this is like a silicone mat. Now this will stretch a bit when you put it through the die cutting machine, but that's perfectly normal, and it goes back to shape very far. And then you're going to have number 4, which is your 3D embossing plate. And if you're not sure what to do, everything is here on the instructions that come with the impressions mat. So it shows you here. You need a number 2, a number 1, a number 2, an impressions mat, and a number 4. And that is how your sandwich should be. You should have your number 1, your number 2, then your die, then your impressions mat, and then your number 4. And it's really important to do it in this order. As I said, first time I did this, I didn't listen to what they were saying, and I just did it the way I normally do it, and it didn't work. And I couldn't understand why it didn't work. And I thought, well, maybe it's my die cutting machine. Maybe I need an extra shim, or maybe my machine's a bit old and it's not got the pressure. It wasn't that. It was user error. It was me. So do listen from my mistakes and listen to the tips and tricks that I'm offering you today on how to use the Opulent Oasis embossing die. Right, so I'm going to put this through the machine and then I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so I wound it through the machine. Well, my two machines are actually an electric pick shot because I do so much die cutting that I really need an electric one to save my hands. So let's see what we've got. So let's take away number 4 and impressions plate and take this away from our base plate. I've got a bit of post-it note tape stuck there. Let's get rid of that. I don't want that causing a problem. And now I'm just going to remove this. And you can see here it's worked. It's worked. I'm so pleased. Because as I said, I've had a few failures and it just never ceases to amaze me how wonderful it looks. Look at that. Can you see? The lighting's not the best. I'm really sorry about that. It's the time of night that I'm videoing. But there you can see how beautifully it has embossed. So that's great. And if you stick to what I said, keep your number 1, your base plate, then you're cutting your thin die cut plate. Then cut up into your, or emboss up into your impressions mat. So have it down like that, not like that. So you have the rough edge looking up. It will work every time. Do it a different way and it won't. That's really the moral of the story, is to follow the instructions and you will get a perfect impression every time. Right, let's have a look at this now. Now I wanted to add a little bit of detail. Last time I used my Hydrangea U alcohol markers. This time I'm going to use my Golden Glow. Now I will say for these, it's going to look worse before it looks better. The alcohol ink will look extremely dark, wet against the cardstock, but actually it's going to dry much lighter. So give it a chance. A little bit of colour, and we're going to work on our card base. Now our card base again is Golden Glow. I've got 2 pieces of basic white cardstock here. One is for the insert and one is for the outside. All the supplies and the measurements will be listed and linked on the blog post, and you can find the link to that in the description box below, alongside all my social media links, so do check those out. So there we've got one on the inside, and let's go for the outside now. And stick one of these on the outside. And then we're going to put our paper down. I love this paper, the Blossom Boutique paper. I absolutely adore it. It is, both the A sides and the B sides are gorgeous. And the A side, as you can see here, and I want to make sure I put this in the right direction, has all of this lovely gold foiling. And it's just so elegant and so beautiful. It's not overly done. It's just that touch of something, and it's just, oh, so pretty. Then I'm going to add down my doily. Now, my doily is a bit big, so I want to just, doesn't matter which way I do it, it's going to be a bit big. So I just want to cut this, and I'm just going to use my scissors here and hope that I can go straight. I'm going to cut this in half, and then I'm going to just trim off a little bit of each side. And I'm not too concerned that it won't mash up because the image will hide the join. So get rid of those 2 bits, and now I'm going to just measure to see if this will now fit. And it nearly fits. I'm going to just take off maybe a little bit more here. A little bit more here. Right, that'll be enough, I'm sure. And then I'm just going to put glue just on the centre of this doily. I should say this doily is from my stash. It has been in my stash since time immemorial. I have no idea where I got it from. I'm on this continual challenge of trying to use up what I have in my craft room. So I'm going to join these 2 pieces together. You're going to hardly see the join when we put down our image, as you can see here. You're not going to see the join. You're just going to see a little bit of white peeking out of the top, which is exactly what we want. So now we need to pop this up on some dimensionals or on some foam tape. Whoa. So I'm going to see what I've got here. I've got some old foam tape again, or again part of my desire to use up what I've got. So I'm going to take off a hunk of this and just put down some. You could obviously use dimensionals, they would work brilliantly here, but I just don't want to be taking backings off all evening. As I said, please don't ask where I got this because I have no idea. It might have been from a craft show. Oh, that's what I hate about this kind of tape. It sticks to my scissors and everything else rather than me. I find it incredibly annoying. I'm going to take off a little bit more just to fill in some areas. A bit over there. Oh, this is why I prefer Stampin' Dimensionals personally, because I get so annoyed when it sticks to my blooming scissors. or to me, that is going to be not as good as a feast. I'm going to give it a press down because all tape, all adhesive is pressure sensitive. The more a press down you give it, the bigger chance, the greater the chance you have that it's going to stick and stay stuck. So let's get backing this off here. And of course it doesn't want to come off in one piece. Surprise, surprise. I think that's all the bits. Let's get rid of this. And then let's put this down on our card somewhere. Sort of in the center, just like that. Now you can see how dried, how much lighter this looks once the alcohol marker has dried. So I'm going to go in with my deep colour again and just add some final lines here, just where there's the embossing lines. I just want to emphasize that a bit more. Then I am going to also go in just with my marker here on some of the petals and just do these little dots. No rhyme or reason to them, just to give some extra something. So let's do a little bit of stamping. So let's find a piece of scrap paper. This will do nicely. And let me find the stamp set. This is the stamp set now. Last time we did Hello Friend. This time I think we'll do Best Wishes. Why not? Let's see. Hello Friend. Yeah, well, I'm going to be boring and go with the same one. So I'm going to put this on my grid paper. Try and line it up with the lines of the grid paper. I hope to get things straight. Line that up, and then we're going to stamp this in some. Let's have a look. I actually think I'll use a contrasting colour because I'm not sure Golden Glow will stand up, but I think Peaceful Pine will. I think it will look just something nice, just give it that extra something. So, Hello Friend. There we go. And give this a little clean up. Why not? Right, move all of this. Sorry, just trying to give myself some space here. Don't know if you know, if you like that, but however hard I try, I end up crafting in the area the size of a postage stamp. Doesn't matter how big a space I start off with. I don't know, stuff just gathers. It's like it has a magnetic pull to where I'm working. There we go. Hello Friend. Now we're going to use some dimensionals on the back of that. And I'm just going to use some of this. You see how easy that cuts? It doesn't stick to my scissors. It's so much better. Right, let's add this here. And I think this is going to just give a nice pop of colour there. So let's see what we want to do. I brought with me here my Pearls of Beauty. Last time I used rhinestones, but I actually think these are going to look really cute as well. I'm just going to put a few of the white ones here and there. Yeah, this looks really nice. Just the contrast is really cute. So I'm just putting a few. Being quite generous with them. have a new packet here. So let me sorry about this packaging. Take one from that. There we go. So there is our golden glow version. Somewhere underneath all my mess is the other one. We'll bring it in. Here it is. So there you go. That is how to use the embossing and impressions mat with the Opulent Oasis dies. So have you shown some tips and tricks on how to use that die with the impressions mat? Please do remember some of that, because if you like me and you're not getting a great image, it might be just that you're using it the wrong way around, and just flipping it like I did will actually make everything come up beautifully. So I hope you enjoyed these cards. If you did, I'd be grateful if you could give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So thank you again, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.